everyone, it's me, Lindsay, again with EquipMeOT, here today to talk about bathing somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia. Now, this is a common issue I would run into out in the community and in the various places I've worked, where people with various cognitive deficits or memory difficulties may struggle with the idea of bathing and specifically showering. This can be a very stressful process for both the person and their caregivers and loved ones. So I wanted to go over some strategies and some equipment and some setup ideas that have worked to help me have more success out in the community with these types of situations. So first things first, let's talk about one of the greatest barriers to feeling like it's safe to be showering, and that is feeling the fear of falling. So falling in the bathroom is a really common concern, and sometimes with individuals who have dementia or confusion, this fear becomes pervasive and can prevent them from wanting to bathe altogether. So let's talk about how we would set up the bathroom to prevent that fear. So first things first, I'd want the proper seating. In this bathroom here, I have a tub shower combination, which is not the best case scenario. I would much prefer to have a walk-in shower, something with 0 or even a small threshold, which is much easier to contend with. But this is a very common setup in a lot of homes. So if this is your setup, I would recommend going with a tub transfer bench that would bridge the gap between the out of the shower and in the shower to avoid that big step in. Now, I have a very detailed video on how to install and set up your bathroom with a tub transfer bench, and I'll link that right here. But for this case, I'm going to also talk about the alternative, which is using just a regular shower chair. So like I'm sitting on here. This shower chair can be set in place, and the nice thing about it could also be set out and on next to the sink if you're going to be doing sponge bathing. So it has multiple uses, which is really nice. Another thing I strongly recommend individuals have in their bathroom near the shower is a good, trusty grab bar. I have a video on how to install this exact style of grab bar. It's pretty simple, pretty low cost, and can add a lot of peace of mind for your loved one and yourself for getting in and out of the shower safely. Another thing in the shower that I always recommend individuals have is a handheld shower head. So I have this one here. I really like it for a few reasons. One of them being having a handheld shower head, especially for somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia, can allow a greater amount of control over the water's pressure and where it is striking you. So people with sensitivities to the hot or the cool or even the pressure of the water, that can all be very much managed by having a handheld shower head. It may require a little more assistance to manage because it's a bit novel and new, but this is a really great option for people who are dealing with that. I also like to have a handheld shower head holder, which will hold the shower head down in a lower position, making it accessible from the seated location if your loved one is able to do more of the shower by themselves. Another thing I like to add for safety is something to add some grip, and whether that's by adding a non-slip mat to the shower, or I really like these. They are stick-on. These are by Seco Pad. They actually stick with tape, and you can put them right on your tile floor. You can put them in your shower, and they add grip, so there's far less risk of slipping and sliding when they're stepping on the floor with wet or soapy feet. So these are a really nice, affordable solution that work in just about any bathroom scenario. And you can get them in bright colors so they're visible, or you can make them disappear right away so they don't notice that it's necessarily something different about their space, which can be stressful. So once you've got your bathroom set up for safety, you can also set it up for comfort. And I would argue this is maybe the most important thing you can do to make a difference for your loved one or patient to make them more comfortable in the bathroom during their bathing scenario. Bathing is innately a very stressful task, and sometimes the biggest fear is being cold and uncomfortable, okay? So one of the first things I always do is I always take a towel and I put it on the shower seat. Cold plastic is really unpleasant to sit on, but it's not very comfortable. It's often chilly. So I just take a nice basic towel that I'm okay with getting wet, and I put it on the seat. This can make a huge difference, a surprising difference. And one of the other benefits to this is it can help with the sliding back and forth on the tub transfer bench, protecting their skin integrity. Another way you can make the bathing experience more comfortable for your loved one or patient is to include ambient heat. And one way you can do that is using a space heater. Now, some very important safety considerations when including a space heater in your bathroom is, first, never leave the space heater alone with somebody with cognitive or memory deficits. It's very important that you don't leave them responsible for it, as it could get left on or knocked over, or something could happen with it. So I always recommend these stay with caregivers and are locked away so that they aren't something that are getting left on inappropriately. But there are some other safety considerations when actually using a space heater in a bathroom. So one like this one, you'd want to make sure first and foremost it's plugged into a proper GFCI outlet, and that will prevent it from getting wet and causing a fire or an electrocution. That's super important. Sometimes in older homes and older bathrooms, those outlets haven't been upgraded. So make sure you double check before using them with any kind of electrical item. The other thing that I would say is that newer space heaters, this model is an older style. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this exact one, but I'll put some links down below to some newer ones that have additional safety features that make them a really nice choice to use in the bathroom. Those safety features include auto shut off if they're tipped, or if they get too hot, the heating element heats up too much, they will auto shut down. So those features are really nice. Another thing you can have added is some of them have a timer on them, so they're only on for the period of time that you're using them, so you don't run the risk of accidentally leaving them on in the bathroom after you leave or after you've finished up with the bathing process. But having some extra heat in the bathroom space can be an excellent way to make you and your loved one or client or patient much more comfortable and much more likely to participate in that bathing opportunity. Another thing that can really help with comfort is some additional environmental cues, which we often forget about. One thing is smell. So if you're in a situation where you use a congregate bathroom, like in a nursing home or a care center, those bathrooms are usually cleaned with really strong smelling chemicals like these Clorox wipes or highly noxious bleach chemicals. Those smells can be very off-putting, especially for people who have lower cognitive thresholds. So if they are really overwhelmed by noxious stimuli like that smell, that alone could keep them from wanting to enter the bathroom. So having a positive associated smell with the space by using things like a diffuser or even just a spray in the air to kind of reduce the smell, make sure it's a smell that isn't too overwhelming. Even positive smells can be overwhelming, so kind of getting to know your patient or loved one can make a big difference here. I like a good lavender or vanilla, something soft and gentle. That can be a really nice thing. That also is the case for in the shower. Select soaps that are familiar to your loved one or patient. Don't be giving them something new, something novel, something overwhelming, because all those things can actually have a very negative impact on their interest in bathing. So having a familiar smell in the bathroom can really help. Another thing that you can do is adjust the lighting. You don't want the lights to be too overwhelmingly bright, and you don't want it to be too dark. I'm a big fan of shower curtains over shower doors, as I have here, and the reason I like a shower curtain is they're much easier to manage if you're using a caregiver. But I always recommend that you use a clear shower curtain. One, it's great for safety, but two, it helps to make sure there's enough light getting into the shower so it doesn't feel dark and claustrophobic. And that can be really helpful for your loved one as well. The other thing I like to do is make sure, in addition to the nice space heater, that we have warm towels available. And whether that's a towel or a really nice terry cloth robe or some sort of house coat that's easy to put on, the less amount of time somebody feels fully exposed, the better. I actually use a towel throughout the entire process of undressing. I leave a towel directly over the lap. I put a towel over the shoulders, so there's a much less time for the person to feel exposed, especially as a professional going in the environment. But this is also the case if you're their loved one. A lot of times I find that if you're the spouse or even a kid or a niece or a nephew, we tend to rush through the process, and because they're a loved one, maybe we don't think so much about the time that they're spending nude. And that is extremely important. Making sure that they have their dignity and they feel like they have some control over that will make a huge difference as well. So having towels to cover the waist, cover the shoulders, that will make them feel more comfortable. Not only warmer, but just generally feeling more safe and secure. There you have it, a whole bunch of ways to make your showering experience more successful and comfortable for yourself, for your loved ones and caregivers who are dealing with Alzheimer's and dementia. If you want to leave a comment or question down below, I'm happy to respond. Consider giving me a thumbs up if you got some value out of this video. And obviously, if you need more information on how to stay safe and independent in your home and community, consider subscribing to EquipMeOT. Thank you.